Hello and welcome, friends. After the Israelis attacked Qatar, hunting for the Hamas commanders taking shelter in Qatar, and Saudi signed a defense pact with the Pakistan, we were all talking about the emergence of the Arab NATO. However, amidst such rumors about the emergence of the Arab NATO, something came as a surprise, and that's Trump's 20-point Gaza peace plan. First and foremost, I would like to state that definitely there is a feeling of restlessness and unease among the Arab countries after the Israeli strikes on Qatar. If seen in that context, perhaps Trump's Gaza plan is something like a last plan for finding a durable and a lasting peace in the region. Arab states are interested because they are feeling a direct heat from the Israeli retaliation, and they also know that if Israel continues their retaliation and if the killing spree goes on, ultimately this conflict will go on to the Arab streets. And Arab streets, once they start boiling, it will be damaging for the Arab monarchies. So they have major stakes in the success of this peace plan. Now, coming to the details of this peace plan, the peace plan envisages immediate ceasefire, withdrawal of the Israeli army, release of hostages by the Hamas within the 72 hours of signing the peace accord, and Israel releasing 1,000 Palestinians. Also, Israel has declared that Israel will not annex Gaza. Last and the most important point is the emergence of the transitional government in Gaza until the time Palestinian Authority becomes competent enough to take charge, and disarmament of Hamas. Now, if we look at these provisions, it appears very clear that all the Israeli demands and Israeli concerns have been taken into account. But Hamas is definitely going to have major problems with some of the provisions. Well, in terms of success for Hamas, there are a few points: that Israel will not annex Gaza. Secondly, Israel will release 1,000 Palestinian prisoners, some of which were given death sentences, life-term sentences. Besides that, the problem which Hamas will have with this accord is that they've been asked to surrender the weapons, which Hamas is most unlikely to accept without any concrete and substantial roadmap for the future Palestinian statehood. Secondly, if Hamas accepts the condition of surrendering weapons, it weakens Hamas immensely, and it also tarnishes its image as a resistance fighter group. Another point that Hamas will find problematic is the ambivalence regarding the withdrawal of the IDF forces. The peace accord says that IDF forces will withdraw to the buffer zones, but the time and scale have not been clearly mentioned. Third point, which Hamas will again find problematic, is the indefinite rule of the transitional government and complete ouster of Hamas from the ruling establishment in that region. Whether Hamas will accept it or not, that's a matter of serious concern. At the moment, Hamas is delaying the decision. There are many reasons for that. First of all, Hamas leadership is scattered. It's in Gaza, it's in Doha, and in Istanbul. Definitely, there are pressures from Turkey and Qatar to accept the agreement and move ahead. However, the military leadership in Gaza feels otherwise, and they are more willing to continue the onslaught. They have their own reasons, which I'll discuss later. But this kind of dissonance between the Hamas leadership is also delaying the decision. Secondly, more than indecisiveness, it's also about the strategic calculation. Hamas feels that agreeing too early to these provisions will certainly tarnish its image as a strong resistance group. It will weaken Hamas's bargaining power and position, and it will also strengthen Israel's presence and role in the overall discourse surrounding this peace negotiation. And last point, Hamas is never going to accept the disarmament and the surrendering of weapons. Now, coming to the last part, why the Hamas leadership in Gaza is more willing to continue the fight? Because they feel that Israel is facing a very strategically challenging situation. It's difficult for them to continue the mobilization of the reservists. Elections are coming very soon, and also they are facing a serious international pressure. Various Western countries like Canada, UK, Australia, have recognized Palestine. and Israel is facing a lot of negative propaganda campaign in press, media, civil society in the Western countries. So Israel is really concerned about the future of the American support and also the stance of Western countries in this fight. The retaliation has gone completely uncontrolled. So far, we can see that 66,000 civilians, Palestinians have died. Though I would like to mention that in Palestine, it's really difficult to differentiate between combatants and non combatants. Hostages continue to be there. And also, the Hamas tunnel network is there, and Hamas is launching guerrilla attacks from its rudimentary structures that are still intact in Gaza region. So the challenges are immense. And finally, another question which is very fundamental that continues is that even if Hamas accepts it, first of all, it's a question whether Hamas will accept it or not. Or even if it accepts it, will it be a permanent, lasting, or a stable solution? I doubt it, because Hamas's charter says that they will never accept the idea of Israel state. They will never accept two-state solution. For them, it's a religious issue. It's a jihadist issue. It's not just about territory or nationalism. The Western powers, particularly Donald Trump, he is seeing this whole conflict only in the frame of territory, land, and nationalism, which is not the case. There is a very strong religious jihadist fervor to this conflict, and it seems that it looks more likely that Hamas will most likely accept this peace as some kind of a tactical compromise or a tactical retreat, only to strengthen itself in the future and continue its fight against Israel. Hamas has already started finding new bases in Pakistan, Istanbul, in Qatar, in Malaysia. So definitely is trying to find and explore new ways to strengthen itself, revitalize itself. So it seems that in this particular case, Hamas may delay the decision, but ultimately it will accept it. But again, I must say that this is not going to bring a lasting and a durable peace, because some of the provisions like disarmament of Hamas and the development of Gaza and completely ousting Hamas from the governance in Gaza, they look very unrealistic, and they would be nightmares for Hamas. I mean, if they happen, if they come into existence, Hamas's entire relevance is completely shattered. So I don't think that that's ever going to happen. And in the future, we must expect some kind of a temporary respite. But again, this conflict, these fights are certainly going to resume after a while. Thank you.